And we're live. Hey everyone. It's Thursday here in California and in most of the world that's listening. Maybe it's Friday morning if you're in Australia. So happy to have you guys who come back every week and those of you who might be listening for the first time. Everyone's welcome. We talk to really interesting people in the world of stand-up paddling, which of course overlaps with all kinds of paddling and love of water. But that's definitely something pretty much everybody who listens, I think, shares in one way or another. Today we're talking to an old friend who's not old, but someone I've known through the course of my whole history, pretty much, in stand-up paddling. And she has played many roles. Jessica is in Florida and has been in Orlando, Florida, I think the whole 13 so years that I've known her. She, what would we say, sup fitness, sup yoga, sup travel now are probably the biggest aspects of her business, Wave of Wellness, but she has been a huge part of lots of other things too. So lots to talk about. Can't wait to catch up with Jess. Lucky to have her as a friend and a strong female in this industry, and it'll be really fun to talk about the journey and things that have changed through the time and everything. Let's see if we can find her. She is, forgot to check, I think Wave of Wellness. Where are you, Jess? All right, let's see who we've got today while we're waiting for her. Oh, yay! Sup East Coast Style, who has so much style. We love you too. Thanks for jumping on. Got some hand raises. Hi, Joseph. Always a regular. Always appreciate you. Sup and some. Sometimes you can tell where people are from. Paddle Safari is Macedonia. Wait, we have all kinds of interesting. Oh, Pedro Cruz. It's fun to see Instagram names. Often you can see the paddling, the love of water or something come up in there, but they're there she is. Yay. Sorry, looking at who all's on here. So feel free to introduce yourself or ask questions while we're getting Jess on here. To be talking with her and catching up. Didn't want to tell too much, but I told a lot about her, but we want to get into the details on all of it. There she is.
Hey.
Hey, it's been too long.
I know. You look great.
Hey, you do too. I was trying to remember the last time I saw you. I think it might have been at a surf expo when we were hanging out with Kat in the shark outfit.
Oh, yeah. Love that. I love when that photo comes up on my feed too.
Yeah. So are you in Mexico right now or back in Florida?
I got back to Florida. So yeah. It's
But
like
it looks
temperature and the climate is exactly the same.
it looks like you had an amazing trip. I saw lots of surf pics, which is awesome.
I did. I just surfed my brains out for 6 days straight. Yeah.
So I assume you're from Florida. I know you as Orlando, Florida, and met your dad before. I saw he was on the trip. So where did water start? It's a flat state, but it has a hell of a lot of water.
Yeah.
So were you a water baby from the beginning?
Yes, I always grew up on the lake. So I started out that way. My dad was really into slalom skiing, like water skiing. So I learned how to do that. Did a little wakeboarding, kayaking, things like that. And then of course we're so close to the ocean. So yeah, water's everywhere, lakes.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So how about stand-up paddling? When did that come along?
So I think that was in 2008 or 2009. I think I saw it on TV or something and was like, I have to try this. And I was actually at a yoga conference down in Miami. And I met a friend there that took in another one of my girlfriends, like 3 deep on his scooter to South Beach. And he's like, my friend owns a paddleboard company. And it was actually Gerard Middleton.
Yeah.
I'm still to this day. So he took me out for my first lesson and I was hooked. I think I came back the next day and rented from him even.
So he was the instructor or he was the scooter driver?
No, he was the instructor.
Got it. So you were already a yoga instructor. I didn't know which one came first. So, and had you been doing that a while?
I had not too much before, maybe a couple of years prior to. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were hooked. You came back the next day. How about Wave of Wellness? Did that start brewing right away? Like, I'm going to turn this into a business. Like, I'm a yoga instructor.
Yeah, wellness had already started prior to stand up paddling, and our mission was, to be a wellness company and to enhance all elements of well-being. So getting people outside, doing, mental health and the meditative bit, fitness, strength, balance, all that stuff. So when I took the stand-up paddleboard lesson, I was like, this is everything in one sport. So
Yeah.
the fact that it's accessible to so many people, and so many people are successful at it, so that really intrigued me, and I quickly started incorporating it into the wellness training, and then it just evolved from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so cool that you already had a definition for your business, and then a sport came along that filled all
Yeah.
of it, and instead of doing a whole bunch of different things, although I'm sure you still did other stuff too.
Right.
Um, did the yoga, was that one of the first things? I mean, you were early in that when it is different. I mean, it's a new challenge. So it's been kind of exciting to watch that, I think, because people who are really into yoga on land and weren't necessarily water people are drawn to a new way to practice. And
Yeah.
so we got some non-water people out there into stand-up, which I thought was fascinating. But it's different, and you can't do everything you can do on land on a board, and you need to be water savvy. We always hope that those SUP yoga instructors have all of that. So how did that transition go? Did you have any role models, or were you kind of?
Yeah. Well, yes. So the first time I went out with Gerard, because I came directly from that yoga conference where it was just like yoga for 24 hours a day for like 3 days straight, we immediately started to try to do yoga on it. So it was like something I was just like, oh, look at this floating mat. And so just began playing around with that. And so then it was like, oh, this is just like a balance trainer. It's like yoga on land, but yes, a little more challenging. And then you're outside, which I love to be anyways. There's definitely a place for a yoga studio, but I love to practice yoga outside too. And so again, this is another way that it fit right into that role. And so for the SUP yoga thing, I think I played around a lot on my own. Me and my best friend and mentor, Janie Hanlon, we just started coming down up with stuff and throwing down her and I. And from there, just started to practice with people that I've met. And I feel like it's such like a melting pot. My practice and everything that I do to this day is because I take clinics, I meet up with other people, and just try to soak up all of their knowledge and get as many fresh perspectives as I can. Learned a lot from Jeremy Vane. I think you know him. Like, he's great. He's a great instructor. So I picked his classes, and yeah.
Yeah, he's influenced a lot. Well, we're getting a really nice shout out from SUP East Coast Style. You two inspired Paddle for Plumber, so her event that she held up there from Lake Mary Jane, and because we're badass paddling women. We love that title, right? Thank you so much, Lee. We'll take that. Super awesome. So Wave of Wellness started even before paddling. Paddling fit right into it. Did it sort of take over some of the early plans?
100%. Yeah, I used to do all the fitness programming for the resorts like around the Disney area. So in Orlando, we have tons of those, like the vacation ownership, timeshare places, and had a bunch of instructors, and found that I was just doing a lot of managing, which was not what I was in this game for. I love teaching. I love that whole experience. And so as paddleboarding started to grow rapidly, as you remember back in the day, it just kind of took off really, really quick. And we got more of a demand for that. And so, yeah, it just, naturally evolved in that direction, became quite a niche, and still is for me.
Yeah, it still is, and it's growing. Where I think we're having our second growth spurt, really. post-pandemic coming out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go back to early days, because when I met you, I had never been to Florida. My first trip to Florida was to a Surf Expo trade show.
Uh-huh.
And boy, those early ones were exciting because it was this brand new sport. Everybody was so jazzed about all of it and stoked and like
Yeah.
pumped up. You've been an ambassador for a lot of great companies along the way, but I had the t-shirt on, but I was too hot. Pulled
Yeah.
up a Boardworks, We Live Water. That crew was so fun,
Oh,
Gretchen and Phil and Ryan. I just feel so lucky to have met all of you guys in the early days. I wasn't part of that crew, but I felt welcomed always wherever you were in running around Surf Expo. And
yeah,
of course, Jeremy Vane was part of that too.
definitely. When I was driving today, like right before this interview, I was thinking about all of this, before we would have our discussion. Just remembering all those times in the good old days of all the surf expos and trade shows, and like what a family. And, those friendships will be forever. And we had such great times. And I'm very, very grateful to have been part of that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sad trade shows aren't a part of my life anymore. That went in another direction, but what a fun era early on when they brought all of us in, regardless of where we were with things. Yeah. So talk a bit about that. I mean, so we haven't talked about all the different things you do, and I know travel's a huge part of it. I can't wait to get to that. But while we're on like the yoga and the fitness, you've used so much different equipment in the different stuff that you do. So talk a little bit about boards and paddles and other parts of your kit. I still love that British term because we
Yeah,
don't really have a word for it.
it is a
What's
good.
your kit, depending on, the different things that you do in stand up?
Yes. It's going to be extensive because I like to do lots of things. I'm not
Yeah.
great of it, but I like the variety. And so I would say my number one thing is just an all around board that's nice and stable that I can take anywhere. People ask me all the time, like, do you like inflatables? Like, what's up with that? Yes, I love inflatables. I think they're great for transporting. I think they're great for storing, for going down the river, especially when I take groups out and we might have like a river with a little bit of current and it's winding and people are kind of like ping ponging down and they just bounce right off and the equipment doesn't get hurt. So I'm a fan of this for sure. Right now in my kit I have Surf Tech and Glide paddle boards, and they're inflatables, and I love those. They're I would say like mid-level price range, very, very durable. I've never had an issue with any of them. They blow up really, really firm. So sometimes when I take people out for the first time, they have no idea they're on an inflatable. So I know some of the cheaper brands can miss that mark with the firmness and the durability. So I do like those. I really, really love the Surf Tech and Prana collab boards,
Yeah.
Galika. So they were made for women. So they're women specific dimensions. They're lighter, they're narrower, they are an all around shape. So you can surf them, you can do fitness on them, you can flat water paddle them. So, and they're beautiful. They're aesthetically pleasing, which is really
Yes.
important.
It is nice. We like that.
Yeah. So I love those for their versatility too, and that it fits me. I think back in the day, it's kind of like a one size fits all, and I am a smaller person, so having a smaller board is always great for me. And I have a Bark race board, so that I haven't done a race in forever. But I still love to get out there and just paddle for fitness. And I love the way that it feels, like streamlined, very ergonomic. I like to go fast, get my heart rate up. So I have that. And I have an NSP DCX paddle surfboard. So that's a fun little zippy like paddle surf shape. I think it's a 7.4.
It is little.
Little.
You're a good surfer.
I know every time I get on it, I have to get back used to it. I fall constantly, but it's really, really fun. It's really fast. So those are pretty cool boards. And then paddle, you know me, I'm a Werner fan through
Oh,
and through. I've been with them since the beginning, and no need to ever go anywhere else. They just make the best paddles. I love that they're made in the US. I love that they're family run. They're just so passionate about everything they do. So I have all of them, I feel like. But the main one that I carry around is the Trance. It is a versatile paddle. It's carbon, cut to my size, so it's a fixed length. But I can use it again in the surf, for fitness, flat water paddling, kind of any condition. And then I love the Zen. They have like a really pretty blade color option with gradients. So,
Who designed that? Wasn't that the one designed by?
well, Jessica Melger did some really, really beautiful graphics for them
Yeah,
at one point. They need
got
to
her autograph on one.
I know, bring those back. They're so, so pretty. Um, so those are more durable, and I like those for if I'm going down the river or somewhere that, you know, I might have to be like pushing off the bottom, or if there's like oyster beds or anything like that. And then they have great race shape and the Apex,
Yep.
not like a year or two ago. So light. It performs so well. So I use that. And then the Ripstick for surfing.
Yep. You got a great kit. That's a whole bunch of good stuff, and I love it too. And a lot of different brands and a
Yeah.
lot of different purposes. But starting with the all arounder for fitness is a good place to start. Although I'm seeing more people start who know they want to do fitness on a little bit more a touring board, so not necessarily race, but the shape with the pointed nose rather than the surf.
Yeah.
But for yoga, I assume you know, having a nice flat surface is always going to be a high priority to do the different activities in yoga. Yeah.
You could be more exclusive for that.
So I got to go to one of the things you did through the years that I don't think you're doing as much, Samara, were Taco Tuesdays, which started first with a Tuesday night race series that you did. You did a bigger race to Lake Mary Jane, I think was a weekend race. So talk about like that era and being so even more things to put under your title, race director and coach and everything you did on that side.
Sure. So after I started paddling, we started doing paddle lessons and tours. I went to a paddle race, which I didn't even know. It was one of Chase Costerless's races down in, like, was he in St. area? I get them all confused.
I think so. It was over on that side.
Yeah, Water Monkey. And so I remember it blew my mind, the whole thing. Like I went like on a rec board. People had race boards. I was like, what? There's race boards. Anyways, I got really into it personally. Definitely hooked on the whole racing scene. It was a great workout. I love being outside to work out, as I mentioned. So like it checked all the boxes. The community was awesome. So started getting more into that. Took a bunch of workshops and clinics, and then started our own little weekly race training event, which was called Paddle Race Tuesdays. It's a really affordable way to like come out, do all different types of race formats, get an official time, and go out and drink beer and eat tacos after.
All the good stuff. We love having all of that. Rafa, I don't know if you know him from Sayulita, just said hi, and I just saw him in Santa Monica, but Sayulita is a town in Mexico that has it all, and I know that's one of your travel destinations. Just love that town.
So do I. So much. So yeah.
So you did that for years, didn't you?
Yeah, I think we did it for 8 years, and yeah, every week we kind of didn't stop. We took like a few breaks a year. We did it seasonally. So we had, 4 to 5 different seasons. And yeah, it was a really, really great community that we built, made tons of friends, and we would all travel to races together, train for races together. And yeah, it's another special era to be part of. And then from there, I developed the Lake Mary Jane Paddle Fest. And that was like our bigger annual race that we did for different charities each year. And a bigger event and so much fun. Started out as just a race, and then we added some more festivities to it, paddling the Rainbow River afterwards and offering workshops and things like that. So we did that for, oh, I can't even remember now. I think 7 years or 8 years too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, love to see it come back, but it's a lot of work being a race director and putting those things on. So things do change. I'm so glad though you're still so involved in stand up and things have morphed. And one of the things that you do a lot of now are amazing travel trips that you guide, not just in Florida, even though there's lots of cool places to see in Florida and manatees and springs and things that you have there. But talk about destinations, what's coming up next.
Yeah, for sure. So, I've always loved traveling. It's always been my thing. Back when I was a yoga instructor, I was like, oh, I'm going to do yoga retreats. Then I quickly got into paddling. So then I was like, well, I got to do a paddle yoga retreat. So I started out in Punta de Mita, Mexico, in 2012, I think. And that retreat now has been running annually since then. So we've done a whole bunch. And one of my favorite trips. So we go paddling in the bay, we paddle with whales, and then we do all the other things that the base offers. So there's snorkeling, surfing, paddle surfing, um, tacos, tequila, salsa,
Of course.
hiking. So that's kind of the started taking more recently is the trips. I got a little bit away the fitness stuff and have moved on this path, which has been super fulfilling. And it's again a big piece of it is the community, which I love, like doing
Yep.
something you're pushed a little bit, you're outside of your comfort zone, and you have this amazing experience and you share it and connect with people and with nature in like such a special, meaningful way. And so yeah, so I've created friends and connections around the world. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So I do remember, is Thailand one, Australia? I mean, you've really gone some distances, or at least are setting those up, right?
Yep. So for Wave of Wellness, we have Punta de Mita, Mexico, Maui, and Florida Springs house. So we stay on a houseboat and we go down the river here. And then I
Cool.
also guide for Flow World Travel. And so they're a company out of California, similar, similar background. Rob Macias is the owner, and he does in Sacramento, and then also these global adventure trips. So I did trips for Sayulita, Australia, Thailand, and Panama. Yeah, on the go a lot, especially now that things are about to open fully again.
Yeah. So probably a little deviated off the course during the pandemic, as we all did in one way or another. But that's good to hear. So you've got yours directly through Wave of Wellness, and I've co-guided some flow travel trips also.
Right.
So other programs, and that's fun too sometimes, huh? Not to have to do all the details and already have them set up. But both draw an amazing community, and I think there's just going to be more people looking to have those experiences. We love the water, we love our paddling. Let's go somewhere else and do it and have more experiences. And again, that community thing,
Yeah.
that's so important and such a great part of what we get to do.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah.
glad so do you have one that's not filled up yet? Should we be pitching a trip?
Sure. Yeah, I've got several. So the first one coming up is the Maui Adventure. That's November 4th through 10th. And I lived in Maui years ago for 2 years. So this one's really special to me. I'm so excited to share it with people. And from the way I see it, which I think is going to be really fun and check lots of boxes there as far as paddling bucket lists, snorkeling right from the paddle boards with mantas and sea turtles. It's just stunning. I mean, there's a reason why Hawaii is like a top destination, top travel destination. So lots of waterfalls. and beautiful tropical flowers. So that one's coming up. And then we have Punta de Mita is in February 19th through 25th. So that's the one in Mexico that's been running for a long time now. We have it super dialed. It's one of the most amazing trips. Always have repeat guests, which feels so nice. But people love it. They're like, we could live there. And so could I. I go there like 3 times a year.
Yeah.
So, special spot. And then the Florida Springs Houseboat Adventure is January 6th through 8th. So that's just a 3-dayer. The other ones are a week long. And this one's during manatee season. So it's so gorgeous. We cruise the river. We do yoga on the deck while the boat's cruising downriver. We snorkel with manatees, and in the beautiful springs, we paddle with them. We go hiking. And yeah, it's just nothing like waking up on the water and having that houseboat experience.
And we have people listening from all over. And of course, Florida is a place you can be year round. So January is our winter, but you can still be paddling and out on a trip. So I bet that one's a very popular one. I want to go. What am I doing in January? Let's get back to just paddling and what it means to you and what you've seen, because you've probably like changed. I mean, going back to the beginning, do you know something now that you would tell yourself? Are there things that you've changed in how you paddle, why you paddle, any of that?
Yeah, definitely. Such a good question. It's really like parallels my yoga journey as well. I think when I first got into yoga, I was like, give me the hardest class, give me the hardest moves, let me sweat the most. And throughout that path, I have slowed way down. My whole practice has changed. And it's beautiful either way. I'm not saying one way is right and one way is wrong. And it can even, change according to how you're feeling. If you're feeling super energetic, go for something, that's harder. If you're feeling low energy, go for something that's more chill. But it's kind of nice to slow down and to stop and smell the roses. And I think my paddling has come to that point as well. So I used to be super like fitness about it, like go hard, grind it out, and now I'm very much like a leisurely recreational paddler. And I chill and I take pictures of birds and flowers, and I really love that pace as well. I think I see a lot more, I experience a lot more, and I still like to go out for the fitness stuff too when I'm in the mood. But yeah, so it's nice to just slow down a bit.
Yeah, great advice. And I think I just saw that Susie, a friend, is on this that was just at a workshop that April Zill did.
Oh,
and
cool.
That's one of the main things she says, even in racing, you've
Oh,
got to go slow to go fast. You have to build a base.
yep.
And she said, you need to go out there and put in miles below your aerobic threshold. Don't
Yep.
get into that anaerobic. This is for racing. This is how you build a base. But so go out and chase whales, not chase like, but just look for
Right.
whales.
Right.
Take pictures. I love it. And again, all of us who love this in lots of different ways, like you said, you still love the fitness side, but it's so cool just to be able to talk to friends and enjoy the power and the beauty of nature and water and everything together. So
Yeah.
very cool. How about some tips? You could give tips in so many areas. So maybe how to take your first travel trip, like, or what to expect. Or I know I have had people contact me looking for expeditions, and there's such kind of a range of types of trips and what you do, but how do you go about sup travel?
Yes, good question. Well, first I would connect with Sup Connect.
Hear that, Sup Connect? Yeah.
They, I think, can put you in touch with people that are offering so many different types of trips, so you can find something that speaks to you. You always want it to resonate with you, obviously. And then I would literally call the director or the organizer, whoever's putting it on, and ask them all the questions to see if it's a good fit. Like, the last thing you want is to be somebody that hates camping and then you end up on some trip where you're like in the jungle with no amenities, and then vice versa. So
Yeah.
you want to be able, to make sure that the style fits your style. Again, one's not right and one is not wrong. It's just whatever you're feeling, in that moment, whatever your expectation is, you want that to be met. So just make sure you ask the questions about the sub skill level, how long the adventures are going to be, to make sure it meets where you are, and that the accommodations meet you.
Yeah.
And style. And
I do love that word adventure, though. I think both of us have guided trips, because part of that, though, is you do want people, of course, they won't want to be there, and you don't want to have someone who's unhappy with those basics. So super important. But I love that people try new things. That's one of my favorite parts of these trips, is watching somebody do something for the first time and push themselves a little bit out of their comfort zone, or sometimes a lot, but but it's eye-opening to them. It's just part of that whole bonding experience, and I think a great experience for them.
It is, and that's a great point. And that's what we do, and all of our, for sure, is get people to push their boundaries and push the envelope, and then we facilitate this supportive tribe, like amongst the group of travelers that we're with, to help encourage and be there for everyone and hold that safe space so people do feel more comfortable and confident. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I'll have people call me and they'll be like, all right, I'm 7 years old. I've never been on a paddleboard. I want to come on this trip. What should I do? And I can tell them right away, if not like if they're capable or not. Basically, it's like, well, can you swim?
Yeah, that's a good way to start.
If those two are checked yes, then yes, I can certainly teach you how to paddleboard on this trip. And it's going to be at a beginner level, or I should say all levels, so that no one gets left behind. So it's a great thing for someone to be able to say, like, I learned how to successfully stand up paddle in Mexico. And, it's an experience and memory that will last a lifetime. And being the person there, and like the rest of the guests there helping to support that, is such a fulfilling and rewarding experience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Some questions. Do you run teacher trainings? I don't know if you know Bernie from the Midwest. He was actually just down in Florida at the end of the crossing. Any continuing ed, or do you do that?
I don't. I've never gotten into teacher trainings. It's just something I've never made the time for, but I know there's a ton of good ones out there.
Yeah, I think, well, I don't know about in his area, but like Julie still does it, doesn't she, through ACA?
As far as I know, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there are a lot out there. Yeah, I can't speak to all of them, but because there's so many, but
right.
yeah, but good question. Oh, and the Brown Blur was just on. Dave Bainey says, you're always having the fun.
I'm trying to keep up with you, Dave.
Dave is great. And Susie, let's just see if there's any other questions, Phil. So, favorite places that you've been, or places you haven't had a chance to go yet? Maybe some of both. There's something great about every place you go. If you're a traveler, you know.
I would have to say Mexico first and foremost, mainly because I've just established like a real connection there. Like part of me is there for sure at this point. The beaches are incredible. The water is beautiful. There's so many opportunities for paddling and surfing, and the food and the people and the vibrant culture.
Yeah.
I love it. And then Thailand is pretty epic. That's just like the landscapes there that you paddle in is just nothing that you see in the US. So it's so different. Just huge limestone cliffs coming into the water, and you're just paddling right next to it. And the Asian cuisine and culture is very different, obviously, from here. And so I really love that one. The people are so nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I would say those are two really, really great ones. Somewhere I have not been, New Zealand. That's been on my bucket list.
Yeah.
I've yet to make it. I follow lots of people that have gone there and have paddled there in those lakes that just look so, with like the mountains and the crazy like turquoise watercolor and then the surfing, and um, I would love to hit that area. So if you're someone that paddles there, hit me up. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go. I know. I keep waiting for just some reason to get there. It's a long flight, but absolutely worth it. And that looks like a magical part of the world. So
Yeah.
agree. That's another place I haven't been and is on my list too.
Yeah.
So so you do so many things instead, and you surf, and we've talked about a lot of them, and you teach and you enjoy it, whether it's the fitness side and the racing. There's a lot of new offshoots. Have you tried any of these? Have you thought about it? You winging or foiling or whitewater, or what haven't you done or tried that you might?
So I've definitely tried whitewater, and it's been like when I come out for those trade shows and all the races like out west I used to go to with Mike T.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's so fun. I would love to do more of that.
Yeah.
We don't have water here, or when we do, I mean, it's really, really small. But again, one of the things I just love about our paddle community is we're such a tight network of people. And if I find myself being like, hey, I'm going up to DC, who's there? All of a sudden I have a network of people like, let's go for a paddle. And then they'll take me down or something. And so I really, really love that, and encourage people that maybe new to this world to do that. Get on Subconnect or different social places, like social networks like this, and just throw it out there like, hey, I'm here. Like, where are you? Where is everyone? Like, what are you guys doing? So I'd love to do more whitewater. I think it's a blast. I have not done any winging. And I was also just thinking on my drive that I need a wind sport, because I do not have a wind sport. So when there's wind here, I'm just like, it's really everything. So instead of having that attitude, I could, take something up like that, which would be super fun.
You were probably too young in the 80s. That was windsurfing. I did do some of that, not seriously, but just for fun. But I do love the feeling of sailing and the wind and everything. So
I've tried sailing, and harnessing the wind is.
Okay, well, maybe we need to challenge each other to go try the wing.
Yeah.
Hey, you can do it on your skateboard, supposedly, right? Or
oh man, I'd be more comfortable in the water though.
Me too. I'd much rather fall in the water.
I know Dan Gavir, he comes to Florida like every winter at some point, and I think he's going to be doing, or has already done, some like winging lessons. So I need to get in on that this winter. Yeah, hopefully he's still coming. Dan, let us know.
I know you and I, having been in it early, we know all these early adopters who do everything new that comes along. So, but they're doing it at such a level. I would love to try the wing, because you don't have to be on a foil, but everybody I see has put it with the foil too. But I'm hoping to just try the wing with, you need to have a dagger board. So it's a slightly different type of board if you really want to be able to tack and jibe. But anyway, interesting stuff.
It is.
And I think will be really fun. So there's still things to try. There's still places to go. How about your business? Do you see, are you going to stick with the travel thing for a while? Are you doing much training or teaching at home? Is there yoga still in your?
Yeah, it is. It's not quite as much anymore. I do it much more so on these adventures. So I teach a lot on the adventures. Like, we always schedule, paddleboard yoga as part of it, beach yoga, like that type of thing. And then at home, I focus more on the eco tours. That seems to be what's really going strong here, right? Especially through the pandemic. So like, we all evolve, right? The cool thing about the pandemic, people not paddle in Florida during the winter, which is like a little mind blowing to anyone else that's not from here.
Yeah.
Our winter, it can be cold. Don't get me wrong, we have a wet cold.
You do? I don't know if I believe you.
I know, but you can certainly paddle here all year round, and people just wouldn't. They were, fair weather paddlers, and they're like, I'll wait for spring. And now, like with the pandemic, everyone started signing up for whatever I put out there in the winter, and it's so awesome because it's so uncrowded. You see so much more wildlife. It's just gorgeous right during that season. So that really like generated or sparked the ecotourism thing for me. So I started to go because then my people were like, "Where are we going next?" I'm like, "Oh, now I got to find another place." So we've been doing a lot of that. And I think that will continue. That's been really fun for all of us. And still do things like we've got coming up on the 13th, where I do like a Howl at the Moon tour and do step yoga during that. So we'll like paddle to this island, anchor, and do paddleboard yoga. So I throw it in sometimes without people knowing.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
They're like, what? We're doing step yoga? I'm like, yep. And then that's kind of great because they wouldn't normally sign up for it, but then they end up liking it,
Yeah. Good for you. Well, you're still going with your wellness theme and the expanding people's minds. So love that you're doing that.
Thanks.
Bernie wants you to know that he does fly down for the wet cold, and it's better than 15 below temperatures in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bernie, I forgot which state you're in, so I keep saying Midwest, but I know you're up there in snow country.
Yeah, for sure. We had a couple paddles this year that were in the 40s, and it is wet, and we were pretty cold, I'm not going to lie. I think most of us also, we are underdressed because Floridians don't know how to dress and aren't prepared for that type of cold.
Yeah.
Illinois.
It's so much about that because these people who go out in the snow, like breaking the ice, or in the spring or while it's snowing in the fall. But they have the dry suits and the wetsuits and the different, layers and things that we don't own in California and Florida.
Mind blowing. And it looks so gorgeous. Like I want to paddle with, or in the glaciers, like people have been doing, and all the, these sick videos of like breaking through ice and
all kinds of good stuff. Spencer Lacey, that's still one of my favorite videos. I don't know where he is on a glacier and he goes flying off on an inflatable. And lands it. That's a couple of years old, but I gotta dig that one up again. I really like that.
You're talking about. It's epic. I know.
Very epic. So in terms of the industry, you and I have been on panels together and everything and talking about just like most things, at the beginning, the boards, there wasn't consideration of you could say it was non-gender, but on the other hand, those types of things are men. They were making boards for men, and they're making the size was for men, the color schemes were for men. They definitely coming out of surf, there's kind of a history of that. So I just feel so lucky to have met a lot of you and Casey and Evelyn and early on, and to be able to talk about that, but a lot of companies really got that early because we are a water sport that has as many, if not more, women in the recreational side, at least of it. Maybe not in racing, still working on that, but
right.
The different hangups there. So thoughts about, where it's come or where you think it's going in terms of being more friendly to both genders?
Yeah, I think, I think you hit the nail on it. People do jump on board. I think relatively early being like, oh, there's a lot of women in this. And my trips, my tours, they're all female dominated, I have more women than anything. Love to have our men out there for sure, but there's just more women. And I hope it continues that. And for racing, I can't really speak to it just because I haven't been to as many races, but can only imagine if we keep up that people will get it together and have our needs met for sure. I feel like people have been really innovative when it comes to product development and have tried lots of different things and have been experimental, and hopefully they'll just keep continuing to do that.
Yeah. So even though we've been at it a while, it is still a very young recreational activity and sport. And there still is a lot, which I think is exciting in all different aspects of it. In the racing side that I'm still really involved with, there's still lots to learn, and there isn't just one stroke, and there isn't just one body type, but we, in terms of the women's stuff, before we leave that, I think we started right away, like saying, equal payouts, and, let's look at this and do it right from the beginning, instead of having to correct, which so many sports have had to go back and make kind of major changes for equity, to work towards what maybe the Olympics is doing better, or trying to do.
Yeah, because of people like you
And you
have had a voice, and I've always been grateful, like when you've done it, let it organize it, to be invited to come, and share my perspective. But it really is people like you that have put it out there and have given us a platform to have our say. And I think there's always room to grow, for sure, and we just have to keep being loud.
Yeah. Well, yeah, a bit of a strange couple of weeks in history, and things are going, something that we lost that was decided 50 years ago, something that it's the celebration of Title IX, which, again, you're quite a bit younger than me, but that was, I didn't notice it at first, but I was right there at the beginning. So we talk about not as many women in sports. It wasn't a thing. The sports were completely morphing. Right when I was in school, I happened to only have a sister and be the child of a PE teacher. So I didn't notice it, but I was AYSO, just open to girls, so I played soccer, and I did a lot of things. But when I got to high school, the first team I was on, the coach didn't want to coach girls, and he was being forced to, and there were 5 of us freshmen and that's the first time that I had noticed, wow, there is a difference, because it had always been girls' leagues playing badminton, nothing against badminton, but only, a handful of sports over here that the girls played, and they didn't play most of the sports that were in California. It's called CIF. But I was lucky, again, that I got into swimming was my sport, so water all the way through, like you. So interesting to see, and like you said, room to grow, and
yeah, and to lean on our community. I think that news hit hard for a lot of people, and I know that me and my friends, we all have a text thread, because we're all spread around the country, and just kind of like mind blown, sad, depressed, and then just trying to get each other out of it. Like, we have each other, we can lean on each other. We're not going to let this stand in so it's one of those things where we just have to unite, and remember, still like-minded people there and community there that we can lean on and be there for, and we'll get through it.
Yeah. My daughters are 30 and 32 now, and just shocked that stuff like this can happen. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, but as you said, our world, our community in stand-up paddling, we're so lucky. We're outside. They've proven now, the blue, that it actually is good for our wellness, which is, you were right there in the up front with your wave of wellness, not really knowing that there was research behind that truly water and waves are part of our wellness. And gosh, thank you, Jess, for all that you've done through the years, and all sharing it in so many ways, and getting other people stoked about it. So glad that you're still in it and doing great things. Again, I saw a few people, they're ready to sign up for trips. Somebody's going to Maui.
Yeah.
Oh, Packet Casey, I haven't seen you in forever.
What up? Aww, I love him.
Yeah, do miss the Florida times. Some of that craziness. Orange Bowl, that was a really fun event. Of course, Key West, we still have things going on.
Yeah.
I know Dan Smith is having races, and the Flying Fish group's having races. So still plenty going on, which is great.
Yeah, and Jupiter's doing their Tuesday night race league. Which I've been going down like once a year for that, and I just get my butt kicked every time because I haven't training or anything. But last time I did it prone. I had never done
good for you.
A prone board, and it was like super windy, so I was like, let me just do this.
I'm gonna lay down and get out of that wind. I think that's a great idea. Yeah. Cool.
I feel very grateful to still be here as well, and it's because of the support of everyone. And yeah, I get to do what I love and share what I love, and we definitely have a good thing going in this little paddle world of ours.
Yeah. So if you're ever in Orlando, Florida area, Jess is someone to look up. If you want to travel to all those great destinations, Wave of Wellness is a website, right?
Yeah.
Wave singular.
Yeah, Wave singular of wellness.net. Yeah. Thank you.
.net. Okay, cool. And follow her on Instagram too, because amazing. The pictures you've had through the years are amazing. I have to just throw out one of my favorites is, I think it was a photo shoot one, but you were somewhere, I don't know if it was Everglades, I think it was in another state, and you were camping in hammocks over the river. Remember that?
Right, yeah, that was in Florida. Well, we started in Georgia and went, I can't think of the name of the river. Anyways, yeah, we did the whole river for 7 days, self-sustained. And yeah, we camped in this like cypress grove over the water and slung our hammocks up. It was so rad. Thank you,
Yeah.
Dave.
That was super rad. Well, many, many great memories. I'm glad that you saw it on TV and at your yoga retreat went and got hooked. And so funny that's Gerard Middleton, who I still know is around and I think enjoying the water too still and raising a family now.
Yep.
So that's fun. Yeah. So I love seeing that a lot of the people, some may not be doing it in the same way, like your journey has taken you in different ways, but different directions, but still out there loving it in one way or another.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you, Kristen.
Thank you, Jess. Love talking to you and catching up with you. Hope I see you soon.
I know, in person.
Maybe in Mexico. Maybe our trips will overlap sometime.
I hope we do it. All right, girl. Thanks for having me.
Take care. And thank you, SupConnect. And thank you, everybody who listens. And remember that this immediately gets recorded on IGTV. So it's right on SupConnect's Instagram. And then we'll be putting it on YouTube, on SupConnect's channel, and KT Outside, which is my channel.
Cool.
You're welcome, Joseph. Saying thank you. With a wave and a wave.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you.